I regret nothing. Fall into the deep ditch to see the end of the plane of the life for me, for the sea to cover for the darkest of hue. With a board on my head for the sinking deep in it. The deeper the ditch, to see the end for the pants of the life, for the paint step, for the darkest the color, for the you can wear them on the scene. You see that it speaks to me to tell you all open watching, for the architect, for the drawings of my life, for the darkest of hue, for the shadest of pain. For the coming for me, for the world again, for this dark. Stand vivid in the darkness. Chapters of my life would regret not a thing, for this be the things that I did, for never the moment, for not slip into the part of being. Although the end played my life for me, for not a single tear drop, for the eyes, for the think of me, for the how you see me, for the regret, nothing in the drowning in myself and myself alone, for the sing of the sparkling and no confusion. The sweet bit of the lemon over the right, for the regret, nothing for the human in life. Like time is stone, sky is gray, for the hands are stained, for the too tired to remember why, for something is ending in this, perhaps this just a moment. No, because of the heart's mourning, for the tomorrow will never bring you back today, for the thought, for the today would end, for the contrast, and never the thought today would start, for the perhaps this the ending of the today or more. But today is the end of the start, for the things are worse, and I wish them to end like this, for another day to die and awake from this the grief in his head. I'm left behind for the day, for what it could have been, for the praying, for the grave, for the hope that tomorrow they're going to sleep with this entire digging the holes and I'm tired of too deep. Whether risk this wearing with the why, with the who you are, for the weather, for the wind is tapped with the flew back, you own that, for the time to tap with everybody in the physical realm. I knew from this game for a room remains for the withhold the sin. I'm all the one to be my own room, you the way you are. That's the comfort that I sleep, for the losing of myself, it can't be me, for the never being free, for the better yours forever, for the sort of freedom in me. The freedom in you, for the lay down the arms and head, for the resting, for your tears in the warmth of the night, I forgive, for the trance and for the pattern of the curse, for the inverted desire, for the depths of being and the insidious code, so this is your abstract device of bitter thoughts. Night, my calm, always invite your poems. Cardboard cut out of people, the empty frames and names and hollowed eyes, and the ground hollowed with the worst way possible, but never the polished hand. Drown to your breath in the coated wax and alive and not living in a wasting space. The value of the word, the tilted love, now for the superficial pleasure of the shallow desire, for the selfishly going nowhere, the respect of the infinite, for the endless coming. One to say for the spoil of it, to the infinite inch, the lack of effort, for this to be the inspired and molding, wasting time, for the never the running out of, and what you did with it. Not to be vain. The puzzle piece and honest with yourself. For this thought for the heart, for the puzzle piece and the order. For this piece and the familiar, for the emotions and naked truth. A way to escape the cruel past, to take control of the drop of the ruins and the rains and the thorns, for the discipline of the roads I have. A beauty broken the barren ground, for the light guided through the darkest of night, to help you find my way to true light. And behind the mask, thank you for longing. Long to be relation and emotion, that's thing. God is. God is. Each stab reserved, each bird that deserves a sword, for each member that you can make until the days that you remember no more. A man in the shadows and meet in the night, for the silent approaching opens the desire locked away, for the silver blade, for the crimson of reminders of you. The silent devotion, the words can't escape the trap to the throat. You can have your own way, trust in the mix of the lust, and ever to save the food and veins of the brave chase. It is the perfect prey. Daniel, Jurist fate. Keep me locked away for to listen to the sound of my heart, for the only beats for you, for the confession that became obsession, for the soul that is yours to devour. I hand it to you, my sweet Savior, my Lord. You are.
will not kill the freedom of black folks. It's coming. We're going to get it. We fought in every one of your damn lousy wars, baby, and you give us nothing. Now the war is going to be here, and we're going to be free. Now you kill all you want to, but we kill too. I don't agree with the moderator nor Reverend Robinson that we want some kind of agreement. We want agreement by which we can live or die. You choose. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes, because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the building. Should you try to pretend that I'm crazy because I want America to be saved? And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free, well then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then kids, stick to your word. And let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a word. You're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of us, then tell us that just what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us and holding this up to us, and every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something, and it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children. We're big men. I've seen my father have to put up with all kinds of stuff. He was a big man. He raised a family. He went down south, and he had to go around to the back door with his wife. We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for any favors. All we want is what's ours. Now, there are many black veterans who are coming back, and they're mad. They're angry. Do you think that they're going to sit down through this? Our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we had. They sat through it. But there are other black youth that are not going to sit through it. We know about Che. We know about Bannon. We've read the books of our revolution. We've listened to Malin's quotations. We know where we stand. We're not going to The news media says that it's only the young that are militant, only the young that want this and want that. Okay, but we're 40% of the black population now. But we were a year ago, and still yet we're climbing. Before long, we'll be 50%, 55%, and then we'll have the command. We're not going to take it. We're not going to take sitting in rotten parks and places that just aren't fit for living. We're not going to take it. There's a limit to a man's patience, and everyone knows that. God, Christ, heaven, everyone knows that what we're asking is not $1 million. What we're asking for is humanity. We're asking to be allowed to live like human beings. And God, you tell us that this is too much to ask. You're sick. You're definitely sick. How can you tell me that it's too much to ask to be a human being?
Why am I mad? You know, white people ask me, why am I so angry? And, you know, I don't have any answer for him, because it'd be ridiculous for me to answer him, because he couldn't understand anyway. Obviously, because he asked me the question.
The 400 years that I've existed there, 3 years, 3 generations within my own family, why don't you know what I'm like? What is it so new in 1968 or, in the 60s that you gotta learn? Because my grandfather was born, he's 90. My mother was ready for integration. She's middle-class Negro. Now, all of a sudden, you come to me and you say, communicate with me. Hell, I've been here all the time. Where were you? Now, what do I have to say to you? The most advanced nation in the world. It has to be resolved. It has to be resolved because I want my children to have an answer. If not me, I personally prefer that I have an answer. I don't have, I like to think I don't have my lifetime to waste on this.
Most people say, if you don't like it here, get out. That's for spineless people. Spineless bastards who don't want to fight for what they believe in. Well, I'm staying here because I was born here, and I am going to fight for my freedom. And before I have kids, I am going to make sure that this damn United States deserves the existence of my kids, because I will not rest until every Sunday school is
got nothing to lose by anything that he does. And this is what the white man better understand. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Simple. As ABC. Or as 1, 2, 3, any way you go. There's no need asking me why these black people burning down these buildings out here. Hell, they got a positive answer. People are not as dumb as people would think. With all the brilliant white psychiatrists and psychologists, you've been able to find a damn path to the moon, but you ain't been able to find one goddamn path 1 mile up the street. Maybe you better take time with just all this unique ability to find all these scientific discoveries that you've got to learn how to find your way into men's hearts and men's minds.
Let me put it to you this way. We are proud of being black and of our black heritage, but white America does not accept the concept that this is a multiracial society. It has never accepted the fact that there are black people, brown people, yellow people here alongside them. They've always looked upon America as being white, and hence all of its propaganda is directed at us to convince us that somehow or the other we must become white.
And a lot of Negroes now don't want to accept that standard anymore. They say, we're going to have our own standard. I think that the hookup comes if you can develop a whole new standard where whites and Negroes can have a dialogue. Not either one of those are acceptable anymore. I mean, whites aren't going to accept Negro standards, and Negroes no longer want to be white. So that the clear thing is to develop a whole new standard, and then everybody move toward that so they can be some kind of dialogue.
You know, from a child up, I always, at first, I wanted to be white, because my family was 20 of us, 6 girls and 14 boys. We would make 50 and 60 bales of cotton, gather all that cotton, and we wouldn't have food in the wintertime. So I figured then the white people must be right. But as I got older, I said, no, there's something wrong. And if I ever get a chance, I'm going to do something about it. I'm thinking about in terms of a better and a greater world for all people. And we can't do that by me in one corner doing what I can do to hurt you, and you in the other corner doing the same thing against me.
So you go ahead and vote. So what? So you vote for a senator, and the senator's constituency is either lobbyists or a lobbyist who represent big business, or a lobbyist who represent himself. So what? So you can vote.
There's been a lot of talk and a lot of shuffling of papers, but in terms of the plight of the black man in this country, there's been no perceptible change. Primarily because the white man has no reason to. He enjoys the highest standard of living. His government enjoys dominance in world affairs.
The brutality and the violence shouldn't become the reason that you want to be free. But that's a very personal thing, that freedom is. See, the question isn't what is freedom to me, it's what price freedom. Because sometimes the price that you pay for freedom is the very thing that makes you a slave again. That's what I think happened in Russia in 1917. But I know that there's going to be violence. I mean, I think it gets blurred, especially the individual. If I face you violently, see, who knows where that violence began? See, I mean, if I face you with a gun and I got orders to kill you and you got orders to kill me, then we can't really deal with each other. You're a target and I'm a target. So you can't really talk about that. But you can talk about the larger thing, the much more universal thing, the reason that you're there. See, it's really not to kill, but to free.
Let us take a look at Harlem, 1964, when approximately 20 Molotov cocktails were exploded in Harlem. And in 1965 in August in Watts, Los Angeles, 2,000 Molotov cocktails were exploded. I think that we are developing more sophistication, and I think in the next uprising, and I suspect it will probably come either in Washington, D.C. or in another unnamed city, where you're going to find 5,000 Molotov cocktails used.
On my way to Washington, feeling mighty sad, thinking about an income that I never had. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And these bullets still be real. We all put out in jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Like that Victor Cotton kill all the black folks you want to, baby. But you will not kill the freedom of black folks. It's coming. We're going to get it. We fought in every one of your damn lousy wars, baby, and you give us nothing. Now the war is going to be here because we're going to be free. Now you kill all you want to, but we kill too.
And unable to tell if the rain outside just tears my eyes the grays of what today's to seem to be casted in for what you ever been so mentally at war. And amongst yourself to leave it through the physical scars and just a trace for I'm such a blessing from God, while the book of life full of hurt for the memories are still sealed, so shut for the even the subconscious know where you are at. I'm so wrong to question life for the wrong to blame to like everyone else and just to guess would it be easy for their way out. The more I dig in the past, the less to see the sunlight. For what I am truly afraid of for the guess of their judgment of me, for the beginner, the mask and honesty, the person for the monster, and some nightmares you try the hardest to rewrite the narrative for the life of this is how I live for the able to show you the real me, but I'm not healed yet. Or should I be for the forget themselves, they often do. Flexibility for the more, for the like that, and sobered over the pipe dream for the between you and me. The language of intimacy for the yearning to feel, for the soul to be seen, to be loved, and hoping to trust, this is hell to be the way they're known. To understand the share unspoken, this to belong to the flashbacks or temporarily terminal for the who's late. This finally strengthening over yourself for the afraid enough of your choosing of. Because you didn't have the confidence to believe it was real, for the one, the certainty for the savor on the plate. Time to let it go now, for the mind won't let you rest. The cherry blossom tree for the falling of the blossom, for the never too long hits the ground for the watch it. Frightened grace to hit the ground, to shrivel it up and to turn into black worth. This because the beats today for the what's to give you, and not enough of the this to come and go. Choosing between the mind, the struggling between the revenge of being kind or something valuable enough you stole. You would be capable of being bold, which holds me up. But the trickling across this to find what's quiet now. Be quiet for the crowded, stretch the cue, quiet solitude for the dancing rivers of meandering brook. You find the look. The colors to be bleeding is so much more pure emotions for the heart, for through the pen, for the ink stains blue, for the face to get turned upon the purple, the smallest and way the truth to be told. Worships of the help for the longing for your touch, just even the pitch of the black word to find the shadows of fear, the aura. The fear of the red screaming of the war cries, so ready for the dragon, for the love that remains in the generous pink rose, this gift for the garden, the life of the blue skies in which we chance, but through the rainy days. And you rip from every edge, but it's to find the eyes still of a masterpiece that you sweeping off the feet for the try to love you for the distance, but I always came back for more carved into the veins and force runs through the core for the flooding and emotions and like I'm your muse and looking for the baseline for the never found the truth. Thought I was and thought together for the thought for that we would stand against the world, whether against you grew distant for the heart was fond of cold, and never the pretending it never existed and news truth to be told. Call me and forgotten, or me in the universe await not to take near the tree for the just to be dancing and thinking of it afterwards why I should stay. A meaningful butterfly you are left behind, but the pieces of the old self scattered in silence. But listen, you're not breaking and you're becoming for the never outgrown for the skin that once held you for the walls that once confined you, struggle and endure for the birth of your wings to step into the change and left the air to lift you. Let the light find you. You were not who you were, and you were not yet who you will be for the yet alive, the in between for the yet a sacred, the distant renewal for the rebirth of the chance to rise. And the creativity for the bittersweet sensation for the taste so properly aimed for this to come into the exact hour. The day I wanted to give it to you anyway, the freedom of the always what you want, for the enough of this to give you your effort for your sweetest of words and find you attractive for the making the things creative and the hearts run free. One more chance, please, the dear enough. For this is enough for the chance of the echoes over the arms that we find solace in the hand of flower. Your kisses blush this together. We laugh and add in the color around us. And embrace the nurturing of spirits in this love that we define and nurture the inner child for the letting our hearts run free. For that we didn't know what we wanted for the always had. The mirror world for the teeth for the maybe the deeds and distant done and ever and let go for the age of the traveler with the spinning of the spirals in the maze. You wither for the blow for the bloom for the buzz of the gather what's roll for the rinse of the repeat convincing you retreat for the wherever you're cold the coldest state you are any individual for the stain for the ever the pact of this feel the pain for the wouldn't wish to the pain upon you but it happened to be a clash of the glimpse and apologies for the conditioning of the armor for the crack for the bit ever for the set dimension for the been lacking in the stitch. Don't be afraid for the scraps to escape you over the edging over the inner child to save you for the bribe and just a bit for this a bit to cry and make it the world destroy the mass and this some other time has to find the distance of everyone. There's reciprocity for the accountability for the endowing of the grace of the perspective in the journey. But lacking with the thought to dig and scratching and attention for the dictating your life and this is the weather but not the walking of thin ice and let us well dance. The recovering of the seasons and changing the love remains and this is all to be. In the echoes of the voice unheard, I walk in shadows stitched to my skin. The language in my chest and no one lets in. This is to see the mask, the silence, the blur, but never the soul that aches to confer, for the which I speak feels swallowed by air, as if my truth dissolves. Was it ever there? The book that never dare read, judged by the cover but not by the need. Yet in the night, when the world grows still, the dreams rise louder than iron will. The choirs of hope hums under the ribs. A song for the day that silence lifts. A dream of the moment, the fragile, profound, where the voice takes root, where it shakes the ground. Where eyes don't just glance, but truly see. Misunderstood fire burning in me until I speak the stars above. Trusting one day I'll carry the love. For even if I lost to the world so skewed, this is the dreaming of the being heard and understood. You're the friendly reminder for the spending time alone, for with the wrong people it's easy to forget. You're so loved and adored even. You're someone everything and someone's favorite, for the cup of tea, for you, someone loved for just for being, for the having met them yet. Even if you have, even if they're dead. Love keeps breathing like a frequency to come tune in. Be sure to remember that, for you belong to the room that you walk in, unhinged and etched in pain. Dreams stripped on sunlit days beneath the sky, where the hope once played, now dimmed by the time, relentless time for the grass, by the shadows and the sorrows hide. Above the ground, weary and worn, for the whispers lost and thunder torn. Walls concealed, hearts grown apart, for the kingdom crumbles and void, the heart for the creator sighs with the weeping rain. Each drop etched with a silent pain, the cold as snow fading to the hue. Time stretches far and aching, though. Stage set for the shadows dance. Page torn from fears, romance, and broom recalls what souls dismiss, etched in the deep within the crime's abyss, this raining. Creator loses the sky for the shameless tears of where the truth lies between the stone walls, and echoes call for the whispering and the fading and the felt by all. Creator yields to the devil's trance, yes, this tears are bound for the silent dance, and each drop bears echoes of the past, where the black and white are overcast, and the echoes of the cry remain for the starfully fading into the etched in pain. And once your scale placed to the bow and ever for the left of the forbidden forward. Rest this wake to life with you. One and the same, but to scream at yourself, for there was no one else to blame, for no longer to run, for you need much as you need you. Marveling the mortuary for the overwhelming and coffin. It really turned soft to this marvel so long to drag me out of the mortuary or the pits of hell. And where the night teaches the day for the gentle scream, but always kind of like a dream, for the bending of the breaking the shape of your soul, for the take it apart, for the make us whole with this. Truth don't satisfy the day and still. And a woman in the wind for the hush of the night whispers echoes clear, for the almost feel empty now, for the spin over the year, for the face of the elude and the ghost in the mist. In the ways of being, the stars twitch today for the under the left eye tensing and releasing periodically. I look up. Apparently it could result from the stress, sleep, and deprivation, for the immediately thought for the really to push myself hard enough, for the got in the point, for the body is still reactive and mean. I knew it already was at a constant. Aching the significant for the face and spasm, for the sheer amount of stress and pressure for the been experiencing and revealing of the center for the round the task, recovering for the dose tax. This is all to be run home, life centered around being responsible. And the road is long, the nights is deep, chase the dreams while the others sleep, with the weary feet for the climbs each hill to find the hearts to grow, stronger for the minds more still. And the sun may hide, the rains may pour, for the waves may crash against the shores, to still we walk through the winds and bite. The dawn is born for the darkest of night, the hands we hold to slip away for the smiles that we may turn gray. But every tear that carves our face leaves wisdom marks under a tender trace. The world may test with the trials steep, with the making that wakes the soul, the shallow sleep of the bending of this to shake the core for the building of its inner shore. For broken grounds grow flowers rare, empty hearts learn how to care. For each fall we take each wound, each scar, for it reminds us of who we truly are, for the stumbling to rise again, for the no lost hope, for this conquered man, for the life struggle to forge and stronger still. The deepest of the wounds to teach us to heal. And through the climbing and the fierce and tall of these lies, meaning in it all, for the pain that we bear, for the storms we fight.